All right, I believe we are in there. I'm gonna go reload to make sure 100% that we're on. Um, cause
Yeah, I went to that link. It took me straight there. It's perfect.
yeah, that was Stencil, man. Stencil came to me with that. I was like, that's sick.
All right, how many people are in here? I don't see anyone yet.
Couple heads up in here. Just
Are you
one
on
second,
Fenrir
guys.
Gold?
We're trying to get Fenrir Amber. I don't know what the hell. It's
Fenrir Amber.
yeah,
I'm in the
Fenrir
wrong
is the one
place.
that I use as the main one because like HP told me that's basically if you deploy something, that would be the first one that it deploys to, and then it would go down the line. All right, so we're gonna get started in just 1 second. I just want to make sure that everything is good money.
Yes.
I think we're
Exciting times, boys.
Dude, I can only imagine what you're looking at, Frankie. I'm sure you're looking at like some command center of like craziness.
It's always a command. Oh, yeah. All right, we're on. Definitely, yeah.
All right, welcome, DCL citizens of the planet.
The planet, damn.
The metaverse, the
Universe. This is we're in the Matrix right now.
Yeah, man. You know what? I had somebody in the real world make that connection. Like whenever I try to explain what Decentraland is, like off the rip, somebody doesn't know anything about blockchain or any of this shit, and immediately he's like, "Oh, it's kind of like the Matrix."
Yeah,
Like, oh,
it's a low poly version of the Matrix. That's
There
it.
you go.
Frozen.
There you go. That's good enough for me, dude. That sounds pretty hot, dude. I definitely want to be involved in the next Matrix.
Hey, do you remember Iman? I think maybe in like the early 2000s, they were trying to come out with the Matrix game.
Hell no.
You don't
I
remember?
don't remember that, dude.
Oh,
that sounds...
dude. It was like, I don't know if it
good?
was an open world, but it was very similar. And you get to dress up as Neo and Morpheus and the rest of the gang.
My bad.
And it didn't pan out too well just because I guess the development team backing it wasn't too good or something.
Yeah, man.
It was trash.
I mean, are you a guest right now? Like, you don't have your Isaac name?
Oh my god. Hold on. Let me check. Nah, dude. I know my guy.
Guest with rollerblades on.
What?
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Dude, somebody hacked my account, dude. I hope not, dude.
No, I'm seeing. Actually, matter of fact, no, this is impossible. How am I seeing all these people as guests? I can like recognize. Like not.
Yeah, everyone's a guest to me too. I think something's fucked.
DCL guys, what's going on?
Dude, I'm trying to get in and I can't even get in.
Oh no, dude! Disaster, man. Why does this
computer issues?
Why does this have to happen to us, dude? Yeah, we do have bad luck, dude. Just ask Will, man. Every time we do anything, dude, something falls apart.
That's crazy. This stuff is crazy. I mean, you know, we're doing things that people are normally not doing with their computers. So, you know, it's like we're like doing like kick flips with our computers. You know, basically, just like you know, not everybody does that. You know,
that's a good way to think about it.
Yeah. Looks like I'm in.
We're doing kick flips out here, boys.
It's so weird that there's all. I want to reload because I don't want to see guests. I like everybody's name, like all that.
Kind
of reload. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's part of the experience is the engagement with the crowd, right? Yeah, be like, yo.
Even though I'm like pretty bad at that, but like you guys said, it's like a fucking command center in this motherfucker. So like it's like serious shit. Like it's getting like I'm like 3 screens. They're all importantly doing other shit. I got the game over here, my broadcasting over here, and then that's where I Discord as well. So like a lot of times I'll get caught up just doing the broadcast and stuff like that, and then like people are like sending me messages and shit, and I'm like, oh, sorry, you know, like now.
Yeah.
Like Boss is in here. That's what I'm saying. Boss is in here, and he looked like a guest, so I had to leave and come back. He only sees guests too.
Yeah.
Hold on.
I'm seeing everybody as guests.
Yeah. All right. Whatever. They're probably just like fixing something or something. I don't know. You know.
Yeah. Should we just give it a couple minutes or just fuck it?
Nah. Let's just get going. They can see us on the screen. I mean, it's just.
All right. Cool.
I don't want to be guessed.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well.
So yeah, let's talk about the announcement right now.
Absolutely.
So this has been in development for a couple of months now with the Ethermon team, and we've been talking about you know what the announcement should say and how it should be read and all that stuff for a couple of weeks as well. And you know, they said that they were going to drop the announcement 1400 hours US time And I thought it was UTC, so I thought it was like 9 a.m. I better get up and like make sure, you know, the command center is like ready to go, ready to launch, right? But then it was like, no, it's 1400 US time. So then we were waiting, and then we scheduled this podcast with Franky, and literally like 10 minutes ago, the article dropped, and so.
Will's computer.
Oh man, did he just freeze? Am I frozen too, Franky?
No, you're good.
I'm good.
We're still here.
Fuck, man. Oh, of course this happens on launch day, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just Will's old ass computer. Actually, he kind of like lives in the hood, so like anytime somebody like turns on a light in the house, like the whole circuit breaks. You know what I mean? He's on some hood stuff right now, but he'll come back.
Yeah, it's all good. Do we have like a website that I should be going to, like, to see the announcement?
There's an article if people want to read. It's we just put it out on Twitter.
Yeah, I can put it on the screen. Is what I'm saying. I can put it up. You know,
yeah,
just so people have a look at it.
It's not long. It's real basic, but when Will comes back, we'll kind of break down like why this is possible, right? Because no, well, you can go to Twitter. We tweeted it out.
Okay, nice. Okay, there we go.
Yeah, find either the Block Runners Twitter or the Metazone's Twitter. We both tweeted it out. Yeah, there's Will. He just messaged us. He lost his internet. He'll be back, boys and girls.
Yep, all good. Okay, this is it right here,
right? Hold on. There's like a couple second delay on the screen. Let's see. Oh, damn. Okay, so Jason X is already breaking down that tweet. Nice. Yeah, that's it. Just click on that link below right there. Yeah, the Medium post.
Oh, how are you that far behind me?
I don't know, dude. I got a little lag.
You're looking at my screen, like on that screen share in Zoom?
I'm looking at the screen in your actual in Decentraland.
The Zoom app should show.
Oh.
I was like, yo, how are you looking at that?
My bad. I'm really going in for the full immersion experience. You know what I mean?
Like, I only want to deal with you through Decentraland. Like,
exactly.
No other way.
Okay, so that's pretty much it. Where you're scrolling through, that's the article, man. It's not long. It's short and sweet to the point.
All right.
Just not that many visuals yet, but you know, all the animations are in work.
So what's going on here? I'm just gonna start guessing because we don't have Will. So I'm just gonna start shooting off the hip. What we got? We got like little Ethermons, and they're gonna be like.
Yeah, you're familiar with like the Ethermon brand, right?
I'm familiar with the brand. I have no clue what the game is, besides with the stuff that Maddie was asking and stuff. But like honestly, I just didn't pay attention much. I was actually trying to buy their stadium when I first got into DC.
Yeah, man.
I was like, what I wanted to buy.
100%. Ethermon's one of the first things that drew my attention. I could probably put them on one hand. The things that kind of like sold me on the platform. You know, one of the things was Cyber Mike Strip Club. That was definitely one that brought me to Decentraland. And another one was Ethermon's like PvP grounds that they had previewed during like the early days of Decentraland, right? They had like a video out two or 3 years ago.
What? So
I was like, man, what's happening?
No, I Will joined and then was loading and then he disappeared again. We're just having trouble.
Okay. Yeah, let's let Will figure his shit out. Yeah. And then we'll go right into it.
So what I'm understanding, these are going to be your pet though?
Yeah, currently, you know, the idea is to have like an MVP product where the players can interact and actually have like an actual experience enrolled in Decentraland with the Ethermon NFTs that they already own. So I think there's over hundreds of these Ethermons in existence. But yeah, currently I think the plan is to have up to 3 to 6 on launch day whenever these metas are up and available. But yeah, I'm gonna let Will explain the nitty gritty details of how the gameplay actually functions. Okay. Because yeah, like Will said, him and the Ethermon team have spent the last 2 months, you know, hashing out how to make this a reality. Wow. You know, but you know how big that's gonna be, man. Because everyone's alone right now in Decentraland. It's kind of lonely. Wow. So we're gonna have the ability to have actual in-world companions from here on out. You know.
Wow, that's gonna be pretty
I'm
cool.
back,
All
boys.
right, well, talk to us. Talk to us.
Dude, what happened, man? My internet just like completely cut out.
Too much fire, dude.
Dude, I don't know what's going on, dude.
It was
Yeah.
like it was just the hype, yo. The hype just bounced you out of here.
That's what it seems like, man. Why does this always happen? Like in crunch time, everything just like falls apart.
That's a good question, bro.
But anyways, I don't
Yeah,
know
we're
what you guys like heard or if you guys heard anything I said. But
not really. You kind of
Stuff
cut
in
out
the
like
beginning.
right at the
I got the
beginning.
page up
Yeah.
now, you know. So now we've got like the visuals, you know.
yeah, so let me walk you through what was going on for today at least. Well, I mean, we've been working with Ethermon for a couple of months now, and we're trying to figure out like the best implementation of a digital pets game in Decentraland. And this is actually an idea we had uh, in the beta actually. And once we got connected to these Ethermon guys, I was like, well, they have the IP already set up. You know, why don't we just like work together on deploying this thing? Because a lot of the game is already completed. It's just a matter of making it work within Decentraland. So that was our job.
Mhm.
And so they set up one meta right now that you can purchase on MetaZone that allows you to deploy an Ethermon called Cobras. And Cobras would be the first landowner's pet that they can take care of. And we're only allowed to talk about the next phase of this thing. And the next phase would be allowing players to purchase this Ethermon and allow them to take care of the Ethermon. And so we're trying to get this infrastructure already like deployed and tested and get people, you know, hands on with these little pets. But you'll be able to feed them, train them, groom them, evolve them. Every interaction that you have with these Ethermon give the player yourself, either yourself as a player or landowner, experience points, and the Ethermon also gets experience points. And the more experience points that your Ethermon get, the closer they are to gaining, you know, some sort of new ability, evolving, you know, all the things that you would expect from a pet game. That's what's going to happen in Decentraland.
Mm.
So for the landowners, they get to benefit because some of the food that they have from this garden meta will be able to be sold to other players. And one of the cool things about this game that they're designing, MetaZone is simply distributing the game, and they're designing it. But one of the cool things is that they'll be able to generate some random food for free to encourage people to go to all the different lands that have this meta deployed.
Mhm.
And so on top of that, you'll be able to find random Ethermon to catch as well. So yeah, it's basically, you know, this is like day one of this game, and it's not 100% complete yet. But you know, with these landowners testing out what we have now, and there's going to be more updates to it, and then we'll get people to players. We'll start enabling players to purchase an Ethermon, and then this game will slowly grow. So yeah, that's as far as we got right now, and now the announcement dropped. Hopefully, we get some more engagement, more people, more feedback, and all that.
I just bought one, so we'll see what it looks like.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
So, I man, you want to talk? I think maybe you already talked about it, but this is like one of the first ideas that we had ever in Decentraland.
Yeah, it's almost like if you're coming into Decentraland with like a creator mindset, like what would enhance the experience? Like pets jumps right out to you like immediately, you know, as any kind of like MMO open world type of continuous experience where every time you log in, it's not like a new game. It's just a continuation of whatever you've done in your past.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like the same trajectory that the Ethermon team they align with us in that respect. So, you know, they're trying to create a real incentive for people to come back and, you know, have a more intimate connection with what's going on in the metaverse, you know?
Yeah.
And so we didn't think of Ethermon, like you said, we had nothing to do with this, but we thought of something else called Guardians, I think, right?
Yeah, those Guardians, yeah.
Not chain Guardians, just Guardians. That's what we were gonna call them. But we were gonna do the same thing, like create our own digital pets, you know, that would follow you around your land to begin with until we have the capability where they can, you know, traverse around other people's properties, you know.
Yeah, and
But yeah, like Will said, you know, the Ethermon IP was already there and set up, ready to go, you know.
yeah.
So it was like the perfect partnership.
You know, this is an interesting topic with Ethermon and Chain Guardians we're working on doing something similar. It's not exactly the same, but there's the idea of owning land presents a bunch of problems for game developers. If you're a game developer and you don't own any land, then you need to figure out how to distribute a game to all these landowners.
Yeah.
And
we have examples of that already not working,
right.
You know, in the old infrastructure. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, think about it. Like Chain Breakers, they had a very difficult situation on their hands from like a technical standpoint, and I believe what they try to do is own a bunch of land, which is cost intensive, right? And then once they've owned that bunch of land, then they would deploy their game, and then you would just come to their land to their game, which is cool, right? It's cool. You could do that. It's just it's not. It doesn't enable like a community, right? You as a player would go to their land to play their game, but you're not engaging landowners. You're not engaging the community. So it's difficult, right? And at the time, it's not very easy to understand a lot of these little nuances when it comes to Decentraland. And so like my brother Corv, when he deployed the Block Runner game, he understood that it was difficult to deploy, right? These steps to do this is not as easy as it should be. And so when he developed metazone, he had all this stuff in mind, and it's now become sort of like a distribution platform. And so that's why it made a lot of sense for Ethermon to work with us to deploy this game and distribute the game and encourage, this community that we've set up, right? Encourage the Decentraland community to participate in this game, become part of the gameplay. And so this meta just is a representation of landowners getting involved in this game, and they benefit too because players would be able to purchase food from these landowners and grow their food on these garden metas. So
can you break down a little bit more like the
sure.
actual growing process the Ethermons themselves, they require like a certain diet? Is that
yeah, so
just kind of elaborate on that.
Yeah, so a lot of the details are still to be like refined, but the idea is certain Ethermon prefer some foods over others, right? And there are some foods that are more potent than others. There's foods that you can cook, you'll be able to craft for better potency. And the idea is as your Ethermon grow, they require some food, and that food allows them to gain experience points, at least in the early phases of this of this game. And eventually the end goal is to provide a battle system that will occur in Decentraland. So think of, Franky, we would like show up onto this parcel, this battle arena that somebody purchased, right, that owns. And
I
maybe
now own this, so this is happening in one of my parcels somewhere.
Well, yeah, right. and people would battle to just in a ranking system, right? They would battle these Ethermon that they've grown and cultivated and trained and allowed these Ethermon to learn new moves and see what happens in the battlegrounds, right? And so this battle arena would be owned by that landowner, and then maybe there'd be some fee, maybe it's free, or it just depends on like what makes sense for this given action within the game.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is like Pokemon except on the blockchain. I mean,
exactly.
That's what we're looking at.
Yeah.
I mean, more like 3D too, because like I play Axie, I got an Axie team.
Exactly.
It's similar to Pokemon as well, but on the blockchain, this is more like, you're in it.
Yeah, the 3D element really adds like a complexity layer, meaning like, Axie has the benefit of being like the team created this like awesome world, this virtual world where these virtual monsters exist and where you can customize them based on the breeding that you do with them, and then you could battle them
Exactly.
And the stronger they are from your beating tactics, the better they perform. So in this Ethermon 3D Decentraland version,
It's like such a the visual of it, to me. That's why I'm like, that's why I just like, oh, this is out. You know, I like this, and I'm not a big person into these, like, you know, these kind of games, but I know it's popular, you know, and I like the idea. I think that people coming in now to Decentraland would now have that kind of thing that you can like do. You know, remember, you know,
exactly.
We always talk about what do I do? Go work on your Ethermon, you know?
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, and the more work and contribution you put into it, the more effort, the better your results will be. So, yeah, in the future, there definitely needs to be more like competitiveness, just like any game, right?
But you know what? This game would be good for that too, because you're not going to really have to like run and jump yourself more. You know, you'd be like, all right, you make decisions, you know, and I think that's going to be the perfect first style of game that's going to be, you know, a game that people want to play, you know?
Yeah.
You know, we've been working on trying to figure out this and that or whatever, and, you know, as this community or whatever, but this is a good one for just you be able to like, hey, I'm working my little guy and, you know, and go fight him. And, you know what I mean? I can just see the whole thing in front of, like, because I had not even, honestly, until I talked to you guys about seconds ago, I didn't know anything about this. You know, not much.
Yeah, that was the idea, dude. We had to keep it like super hush mouth for a while. So I guess we did an okay job. It leaked from a couple places. Somehow, like, Japanese media picked up on it like a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah.
But yeah, back to what you were talking to, Will, like, and it's kind of important we can't understate like how important the distribution aspect of this game is, because like you said, a lot of projects in Decentraland, they came out with big visions in mind of like, you know, we're going to create this whole gaming infrastructure, but the problem is, how do we get it out there? Because they don't own Decentraland. Like, if you're a game developer, you either need access from the landowners who own the developer bandwidth, or you need some kind of platform to distribute that. This is why, you know, we're trying to emphasize here, without metazone, this wouldn't be possible.
Yeah.
You know?
You know, you guys always in my brain, you guys have always had a great use case for your platform, but you know, everything's a work in progress here. You know, and like, I think that everybody should operate with a little bit more patience with the team, with yourselves, you know, with everything that's happened. And, you know, like, things just don't happen in an instant. You know, like, there's things that have not even been implemented into the SDK that we're gonna need for the future too. You know. It's starting to get there. It's starting to look good. You know what I mean, we've got a little screen going on and shit. Like, that's all right, you know. So, it's, you know, little by little, we're building. You know.
Yeah, and this is really showcase meta from the architectural standpoint, in the sense that other game creators will see Ethermon deploy, and they'll start thinking of their own games, their own MMORPG games that could be deployed through metazone, just because we have the distribution, right? And then you have to start thinking as a game developer, what exactly are the incentives for landowners to deploy this game? And without those incentives, you have less of a chance that landowners purchase your game to deploy. But it doesn't mean that they won't deploy it, right? So just because, you know, there may not be for a particular game, there might not be an incentive to deploy a meta that earns them revenue. That doesn't mean that they won't deploy. So man, this is still early days.
Yeah, exactly.
In my opinion,
Litecoin were talking, I think yesterday or something like that, right? Just random conversation. And I was like, man, some of these early metas are just gonna be like collector's items. Like, I look at wearables and I see the same idea there. You know, once those are NFTs, and like my early graffiti wall, just gonna be like, who the fuck even had metas back then? You know what I'm saying?
So,
you know, like shit like
you're the first one to buy the graffiti wall, man. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Dude, Franky's like OG as it gets from our perspective.
For us, man. Frank, he was probably one of the first guys.
My first interview with you guys was just because I bought a meta. I didn't do shit.
Yeah.
You know, like, it was like, yo, this guy bought a meta. Put him on the air.
Yeah, that's literally what it was, man. We were like so hyped. He was like, somebody actually bought something, man. It's like, now we got to know what's going on in his brain, you know. Yeah. But we're on the same wavelength, man. That's what you said that yourself, you know. Like, I'd like more of that graffiti culture to be, spreading throughout Decentraland. Maybe it will in the future. It's just a matter of
yeah.
Well, now I have.
us.
Here's another thing. Now I have a land where I'm going to be applying a meta because, me doing my own builds, man. I've like not been able to put metas because I've got all of my own creations. Now, what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in the neighborhood. I think it's a good spot for it. So, now I have a place to put the meta. I can put this there, and I can put the graffiti wall.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And my
exactly.
So it's cool. And I actually got to figure out how that works with permissions, but I'll figure it all out. We'll get with Corv and make sure.
We'll figure it out for sure.
Yeah,
like,
one of the things
I share that piece of land with
do,
someone else in a different wallet. I think I got to take a look at what wallet that's actually connected to, but I can make it happen.
Yeah, one of the things that we're going to do with MetaZone is that we are going to support all the other like creations that are not necessarily metas.
Mm-hmm.
And all you would have to do is export it as a file, put it into GitHub, and we would make it seem like it is a meta, like it's like a personal meta that you have. And it could be, any builder item, any building, anything that you've created, like your DCL core radio station.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that it could be considered as a meta, at least from the perspective of MetaZone.
Yeah,
and then you can start taking your and then you can update it as often as you want in the SDK, and you just have to export it again and upload it into GitHub. And
so basically, it's like a MetaZone builder, no?
Yeah, basically, that's right.
So it'd be like, okay, you have you have the builder, but then you have the MetaZone builder. You can throw your metas on there, and you can upload your own stuff to the meta. That makes sense.
That's right.
That's cool. Oh yeah.
So I mean, a lot of this stuff is a work in progress for sure. But I think we have like the ingredients to really deploy even bigger games in the future, just because of the distribution capability. And like I said, if people want to make games and host their own games on their own servers, like this is.
I think he dropped again.
Yeah.
They're running it on their servers. I mean, of course, there's a little stuff that we're doing to help, make this possible, like making metas talk to each other. Right now, each meta is in its own world.
Yeah.
So,
right. Yeah, it would be nice to have them be able to kind of commingle with all the others, and
that's right.
I mean, they do. I mean, you see like studs. I went to Studs place. I hadn't been to Studs place in a long time. I was like, what the fuck? This is crazy.
Yeah.
And I like what he's done. And he's just like, it shows you the creative mind can do a bunch of stuff with the MetaZone,
Yeah, for sure.
That's cool.
Yeah, especially with that remote. I mean, it's like a Sims builder in a sense. You use the remote and you can move anything.
Like I have a version of that as a feature in the SDK that Carl had built. Yeah, it's just like a version of that basically.
Sure.
So what I do like for the TV, I had or whatever you want to call this, a screen. I had like positioned it. Like I just put it on my land, and then I take that little same idea, the remote out, move it over, and then I catch the coordinates, and then I can punch the coordinates in the SDK, and then I, do it right, whatever. So it's super helpful to kind of like be able to just grab something, put it over there, and then be like, okay, this is where I want it, and then you can go to your code and then code it like that, and then just it'll appear in the right spot.
Yeah, that's kind of stuff is extremely useful, especially for somebody like expecting to be able to move stuff around in a very easy way. Because if
fight through it, Will. Push, Will.
Wiggle those cables, dude. Oh man, I don't think he made it through this one.
No. Yeah,
this is weird. This is out of. Wow,
yeah, this is not normal. Even for me, I know, this isn't normal.
The devil's really trying to take us down, Franky.
It's all good. So I do want to talk about a little bit. I mean, I'm not going to go too deep, but I'm going to start doing a daily broadcast.
Let's talk about that.
A news broadcast, for DCL, like DCL News, and we're gonna try to like make this a little more professional, because as much as I love doing these, and I'll never stop doing these. Like I like interviews whenever I want, whatever. DCL radio building will continue to be, DCL core radio will continue to be. But the news broadcast will be a little bit different, where I actually like we're gonna build a set somewhere, and then like shoot an actual like professionally shot, as good as we can make it look, which will probably be pretty good. Like show that is just information, no biases, no nothing like that. Just reporting information that people send to us about Decentraland, or mainly Decentraland, but probably what you call it? Hold on, let me see if it was coming back. Mainly Decentraland, but probably other metaverses as well. I'd like to link up with certain people from different metaverses projects and like get their input information and stuff like that, and start to like really, you know what I'm saying, like kind of commingle, and we can all kind of exchange information, and then people would have a place that they can come and get information. So if I do,
I think that's really important. I think, like kind of like what we're doing right now is it's just like the prototype version of that. Meaning, like we just announced the new product, and it's something that we're about to release to Decentraland.
Yeah.
So it's very pertinent information to people listening to your broadcast. So this is now a platform for people to kind of like give updates on the progress of their creations.
And I always tell people, if you're working on a project or something like that, and you want to do a launch thing, like actually I think on Thursday, I'm not sure what the day is. Actually, I don't remember the day. I think it's Thursday. Tox Sam is going to be releasing the Viking gym over there in the neighborhood. And I said,
that's
perfect. Like, why don't we throw a little something, do something to present it, and Red I think has a piece of land that's like right over there, and he has a screen on it. So I'm saying like, well, let's just throw it on Red's land, because it makes sense. It's closer to in proximity than my land. Like I could put up a screen, but why? Red's got one already set up.
That way, so you can go like maybe the people listening can actually go play while
they can go play. Yeah,
they
would be able to go play, and we would be whatever presenting it or talking or whatever it may be. So put something together. I think that's gonna be a lot of fun. And that's going to be the first time we can like start to kind of show how to use it in other ways, like on somebody else's land completely, about somebody else's thing completely, Well, I might not even be a major player in the conversation, I might just be sitting back, flipping through things, or even give him the whole screen and the time, and, go hide in the corner or something, whatever. I don't care. Like, I literally, hold on, my bad, Will. I literally don't care. I care about promoting you guys' stuff, like you guys, everybody in the room, everybody mostly everybody in the Discord. You know what I mean? So like, stuff like that.
Yeah, I think that's naturally like a good progression, man, for sure.
Yeah.
Like it's just gonna evolve into that, whether you like it or not. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's just the way it's gonna go.
I'm enjoying it, man. I'm enjoying the ride. You know what I'm saying? And I like getting together with people and building projects, and getting the right people in touch with the right people. So it's cool. I still gotta build a little bit like the game plan, like what's it gonna look like, and stuff like that. But
have you been tracking your numbers, like visitors and stuff?
HP is the guy with all the information. I asked him questions, and if it wasn't like there's only so much I can do. So like HP.
I'm sure he's coming up with some kind of like crazy math to like some formula he's whipping up, like this is our performance. You know what I mean? He's gonna come up with the graphs and the charts pretty soon. It's actually good information to have.
Yeah. What's going to be necessary information?
Yeah.
We talk about like in the internet, the information is worth the most than anything in the whole world. Like information is more valuable than anything. So, I'm just lucky to have him working with me and have him help me with these things that because I have the vision, and I have obviously the work ethic.
Yeah.
But I'm just nobody's that smart, man. No one.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, all this is just an experiment. Like, really, we're just trying to figure out the best way to like have stuff work.
I always forget to turn my mic up, man. I have the worst like habit, because my microphone ends up being low compared to you guys, and it's funny. Like I forget every time. So Open, thank you very much for that, man. Open's gonna work with me as well. He's been doing really like cool. He's been like basically my cameraman for all these things now. Yeah. And he'll come here and he'll put that up on his video, and I asked him to do that because it's super important for the rest of the world to understand what this looks like from the perspective of an avatar, somebody who's coming in here, So Yeah, there's that.
Yeah, it's been an interesting journey, especially trying to figure everything out. Because, like I was saying earlier, since this is an experiment, like we built the MVPs of everything, and it's continuing. Like pretty much everything
Mm-hmm.
that we're building, including the Ethermon stuff, they're all MVPs, just so that we stay flexible with maybe there's a valid feedback from everybody in the community
Mm-hmm.
about what Ethermon the game in Decentraland should be.
All right.
And we didn't want to design an entire game where it was rigid, right? The architecture, everything was rigid
Mm-hmm.
from the get go.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're taking everything, step by step to make sure that this game is what people expect it to be,
Mm-hmm.
and it's within the limitations of Decentraland,
Mm-hmm.
if you want to call it that,
Yep.
limitations. But it's one of those things where we nobody really knows if anything is going to work, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you just have to figure out a way to where it does work, and once you figure that out, then you build that thing. You make it into a real full on product that people can expect to have some sort of quality to it. And then on top of that, it's like Ethermon, there's an entire team like working on this,
Mm-hmm.
right? We're focused on integrating their IP with a meta and have it deployable, and these Ethermon, they're all NFTs. And if
Mm-hmm.
you already have Ethermon, we're going
They're
to be
gonna work.
supporting all
Yep.
Ethermon eventually,
Yep.
and you'll see them in Decentraland.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and you'll be able to take care of all of them. So like this is probably one of the biggest games that's Decentraland is going to see
Mm-hmm.
for a good while,
Yeah.
just
I
because
believe the
they
same
have
thing
an
actually.
existing IP.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now I kind of swore I had read before that Ethermon was going to be a game not on Decentraland as well. Or am I crazy?
So yeah, it's already currently a game.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
one of
Yeah.
those, standard, those NFT games where you battle and you go on adventures and you send your Ethermon on an adventure. Hopefully that Ethermon brings back a new Ethermon. And
Mm-hmm.
so there's like this whole game already to it.
Mm.
And on their website, they have already like somewhere around 11,000 players
You know what? Let's
and
go take
like,
a look. I might as well
yeah, and like
sick my
50,000
Axie team on this
on.
Ethermon thing.
Yeah.
How do I? Is that Ethermon? Yeah.
It's
Ethermon.
ethermon.io.
Oh, yeah. Cool. Let's go check it out.
So yeah, it's been interesting, kind of like working with another team on this stuff, and like I said, this is another example of what we expect other teams to do as well. Like we want to reach out to chain breakers as well and see
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
the
Let's see
update is on them, and
what you could do.
maybe
Yeah.
get Axes in here in a full game with Axes. So all that stuff is completely possible now.
Yeah, and it's important. Like we Will said, he didn't emphasize, but he said like, yeah, this is super early days, so the whole hurdle for all of us to figure out is that landowner incentive thing, because you kind of talked about it. Well, like not every landowner maybe is expecting some kind of like revenue stream, right?
That's right.
There's creative ways.
Is that
Yeah, it's me. I don't know.
That sounds crazy. Hold on. I just took your audio out of like the broadcast. Like we can hear it, but they can't right now. So something is going on in Texas. Things are just getting crazy with the internet are there, I guess. I should definitely hear my earphones. It's going crazy. But hopefully we can get him back on here and everything can get figured out. Iman's back. I still have that crazy sound though, and I'm not really sure where that sound's coming from right now. Maybe I should leave and come back. I mean, restart the Zoom party. All right, let's do that. Let's go ahead and just restart the Zoom party. I'll be back in just 1 second. Hold on a second. That was a crazy sound. All right, well, we'll get back to it, man. I ain't tripping. This stuff is just technical difficulties that happen from time to time. I think it happened a couple of days ago, similarly with Boss's audio. You know, these things aren't perfect, and that's another reason why I think it's. I'd like it to be just the avatar and not like somebody like just necessarily a person on here, like, because you could have those technical difficulties. But if you put just an avatar there, you know, and then we have like the video going on behind, I think that'll look good. So, you know, stuff, you know, things happen. It's all good. Let me just grab Iman and we'll be back at it in just 1 second. I got Will, but nobody. All right, so the invites are out. This should be back in just a second. Jeez. Let me try to log on to this Ethermon and stuff, because I never. Oh no, it's right here. I never actually. I didn't look much into this game, but I knew that it was like gonna be something. You know, in my head, I was like, this is a good idea. I knew that people. What's up, Iman? I knew people were gonna be into it because I just feel like it has that feel, like kind of like the Asian market feel. Look at this thing; it's actually dope. Hold on a second, I'm watching this whole video. Hold on a second. Hold on. Before we do that, because I think I don't have sound up, and I'm gonna put the sound up for you guys, and I'm gonna put the sound up for this. Okay, hold on. Let's go full blast. Full blast? No, can't do it. No. All right, we'll go from here then.
Enter a world of magic, monsters, and myth in one of the world's first online crypto games, Ethermon. Ethermon is an exciting new crypto game, an advanced and decentralized gaming platform that's built on the popular Ethereum network. Capture, buy, train, and battle monsters called Ethermons, which you can evolve to defeat your opponents while building unique and valuable Ethermon collections. You'll have hours of fun training your Ethermons to level up and lay eggs, evolving them into new species that gain value, and then trading or selling them to other players for a profit. Use your creativity to build elaborate castles and battle other players in various game modes. And collect exclusive Iman, cryptocurrency tokens to use when buying or selling within the game. Plus, Ethermon runs on thousands of machines simultaneously using blockchain technology. So it's totally secure, immune from any outside influence, and runs 24/7 with 100% uptime guarantee. So once you own a monster, it's yours for life. So get in the game, join in the fun, and make some dough while doing it.
All right.
Ethermon, get your
dough
battle
out here.
on.
That's what it's all about, Franky, right?
Yeah, for real. That was good. That was pretty cool, actually.
Yeah.
I'll probably get into this and just take a look at least.
Yeah.
But that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Just appreciating the artwork alone is like, yeah,
exactly.
It's pretty goddamn impressive.
Let's go to the market. Let's see what the hell is going on in Ethermon. So, somebody had a question in the chat actually. So how do you make money off of the meta itself?
I believe the idea is, so if you're an actual host of the meta, the idea is you pretty much have the rights to deploy these 3D versions of these Ethermons, right? Like right now, they only exist exactly how you're looking at them. Mm-hmm. They're just 2D art renderings on a web page, mm-hmm. right? But now, if you're the owner of one of these metas in Decentraland, people have to come to your land to deploy their Ethermons in order, to interact with them, to feed them, to grow them as far as like their experience capabilities, to evolve them, yada, 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 or to even find more in Decentraland. So how you do that, there's going to be multiple new meta purchases you as a landowner can deploy, which are in like the early stages of development, such as like the farm is a good example. You could sell seeds to players and they can grow their own crops specific to whatever their Ethermon needs, right? That's one way to monetize. I'm not like 100% in with like what the team is doing, but I have a good idea of maybe I have an idea in my head as far as like storage of these crops that you're harvesting. You could actually charge people to store their crops. So you could think of them as like you're mining NFTs, right? The more, because there's going to be like a difficulty layer to obtaining these crops. It's not just as simple as you click and you've got it. Yeah. You actually got to put a little bit of work into earning it, just like a real crop, right? There's some time investment required. So you can literally spend all your time you want harvesting these crops. So there's going to be real value to these things because people might not want to spend their whole lives, harvesting and growing crops. They might want to purchase them off an open marketplace, right? So in order to feed and evolve their Ethermon. So that's kind of like an important element we're hoping to execute on as far as like creating that landowner and player like closed loop economy. You know what I mean? Like the landowner actually needs the players here to like put in some work in order for this whole game ecosystem to function. You know what I mean?
This is crazy. I'm looking at this. I'm like, there's a 3D model for every single one of these.
See, I think right now I think there's 6. Like in the MVP product, I think the goal right now is to have 6 deployed. But yeah, when Will gets back, he's gonna have to give you the exact figures. But yeah, I've seen a few of them. They're rendered, they're animated. It's just, but the end goal is to have them all, right?
Yeah, right. I mean, that's got to be it,
Yeah, like the early phase of this game is I think the game is going to be collect and grow your Ethermons,
Yeah.
Like I said, the battle element isn't there yet, not in the beginning, but that's definitely the long-term vision.
I'd love to see some gameplay. Do you think there's any gameplay on YouTube of?
There has to be.
Right.
There has to be, dude. Yeah,
we're gonna go in. How about we do the Ethermon deep dive while Will's not here? Just like that.
There we go.
That's me. No, like that's me. It's open. Love it. I need gameplay. Guys. Let's see. No, that's game. Want that? No.
Oh, it changed on you. It's Etherscan now.
Come on, nobody plays Etherscan.
I think I saw something Ethermon beta gameplay.
It's got to be good.
It's from 11 months ago, but it's probably
this stuff. I'm not. I'm trying to. Oh, Will's back. All right, I'm not even gonna. This guy's commentary is super boring, so we're just gonna go ahead and let the pictures run. Yeah. Will's back,
Cool.
right?
Yeah, I'm back.
All right, nice. So we found some like gameplay video. So we're kind of just running that. It's just some guy talking, so I'm definitely not playing his audio. But
Okay, cool.
I just was interested in like what the game actually is now. So I'm like, okay, you have. Because I'm looking through the game, I'm like, holy shit, there's like a million of these things. You're gonna have all those, done. But Iman was explaining to me there's gonna be 6 to start.
Yes, there's going to be 6 to start, and once we get done with the next phase, that's when the real launch will happen.
Okay.
And so we're a couple of weeks away to getting that done. So definitely more stuff coming.
Awesome. That's cool. I mean, yeah, I could see it. Just because of what I have with the Axie guys, like, like now I'm understanding this stuff a little bit more, and that there's a definite like addiction value to some of this stuff. Like, I'm playing Axie. I wasn't expecting to play. I was like, I don't play. I just run the team. And I was like, they're like, nah, you're playing. We're sending you Axies and you're gonna play. You're gonna turn it on. I was like, oh jeez. And now I'm playing it. Like tonight, I'm probably gonna just stream on Mixer Axie all night with my guys. Yeah.
So what's your experience with that? Is it the actual gameplay? Like, is it captivating enough to keep you playing? Or
I'll tell you what. I don't know what this is, but I know with Axie, it's just millions of possibilities. So like every little thing on the Axie is a feature. So like every little thing on the Axie is a feature. It gives them a different card and a different advantage and disadvantage, and it's just a million things. And I've never played a game like that. My friends, most of the guys on my team, they have all played Pokemon heavily in the past, so they knew what time it was like immediately. They were like, "Well, yep, I take this," and they're being really competitive. They're starting to break into the top 200 and 100. It just depends on which guys, and they're all getting I think my friend Mark, he had the he was like him and Marcus. So like my best friend Marcus is Pixel Buster Doc, and then there's Pixel Buster Bruiser. And they were the first two. So they have a little bit of like an experience advantage over the rest of the team. but everybody's catching up because they're competitive guys. They just can't see one guy do better than the other guy. They're just not into it, you know. So it's fun. It's been a lot of fun because we already were hanging out every day anyway. So this was second nature for us. It's like, okay, now this thing, you know, is a thing. And so it's funny because we have people that we talk to a lot, you know, and they'll pop in the party and we're sitting here talking about this game that they don't know about. And they're like, what game is that? And can I play? You know, kind of thing. So I think there's 8 of us now, or 9 maybe.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That grew pretty fast.
I got a bunch of knuckleheads, man. You know, we've been friends for years. All of these guys that are involved with this with me have been my friend for at least 7 years, you know?
Yeah.
Marcus,
okay, cool.
Me and Marcus have been riding together like 20-something years, you know what I mean? So,
Hey.
yeah. So it was second nature. It was like, I've been trying to find ways to get them involved in this stuff, but it didn't seem like their cup of tea. But when I found something that was similar to something that they liked, they dove right in, you know? So
Yeah, I mean, Iman and I talk about this a lot. This next generation of gamers, they're probably going to grow up with gaming where they're actually earning like some sort of revenue just by the game itself.
Yeah.
And it's a completely game changer for all of us who basically played games for the entertainment value, and that was it.
There's a lot of that, but a big part of gaming, or at least successful games, where the game developers know how to give you that sense of progression and achievement, meaning like you actually earn in-game status. That's why I was always so attracted to MMOs. Like I said, this whole persistent experience.
Yeah.
I need that in my games.
Else, and I can tell that with you, I mean, like you're that style. Like you need to like be grinding it and like, you know, kind of immersed in it. You know, I'm a sports gamer. I just beat my boy in Madden like a few minutes ago before this, and it was like the best thing that ever happened to me because like my controller went down halfway through the game and I still pulled through. So yeah, like, you know, that was huge.
Yeah, those are cool too. Like you could definitely do that with your friends, especially. That's even better. Like me and Will used to go at it at Halo. Where I used to kick his ass all the time, dude.
I smoked Diamond.
No one's here to verify these stories. This is hilarious.
Exactly.
Like nobody's here like, I was killing them, you know?
You're just gonna have to take my word for it.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm talking. But whenever you eliminate that, like, okay, your friends aren't around. Now you're just on the internet. You're seeking some kind of like captivating gaming experience.
Yeah.
I think that persistent gaming style, to me, is the most attractive because, like I said, every day you log in, progression is being made. So, like, you know, the next day feeds off of what you did the previous day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can't. I'm not the guy who could like load up like what's that game, like Skyrim or something. Like it's like a single player type thing. You know, that's not me. I need that multiplayer, you know, competitiveness.
Yeah, I won't do those. My friend, like I said, it was a bunch of us, and so Pop, he will like duck out to go play a 1-player game by himself. Like we're all in there having a blast, you know, and he's like, I'm out, you know, and he wants to play. He loves that. Whatever that thing is when you're playing a 1-player, it's fine. I mean, I think everybody has their own style of playing video games, you know, being a gamer, you know. So
I think that's more like it's when you play those kind of games, it's almost like reading a book. You know, it's more personal. You kind of like you make of it whatever your imagination is, and you're just in your own world, which is totally cool. I get that.
Yeah.
But so I'm hoping Decentraland kind of turns into that, where everyone has their own unique experience. So there's enough gaming content, just enough content in general. You know, you can create your own
one
reputation.
Of those things too. Like I mean, I've like I said, I'm learning about this now. It's not like I knew about this at all, really. So I'm looking at this like this is like the first time you're gonna see the first game you see that like probably can get you to stick around for a bit, you know, to get you to actually want to play and call. Like you might have people now calling it playing Decentraland and again, you know, you know, I still, you know, think it's a big social platform that you would, you know, have a bunch of different experiences. But yeah, I think you're right. I mean, if you can get people doing something of this nature here, you know, I mean, this kind of like playing.
Yeah, all of a sudden you have to log in every day, or else. Your poor Ethermon's gonna die.
And the other thing is, you know, that's funny. And the other thing is, the 3D
maybe
element.
Die,
you know,
but it's definitely not gonna progress.
Suck, the 3D element of it, you know, like again, the Axie is great, but you know, somebody with maybe like okay, like you don't need these 3D models to be the fanciest, but and they're because the 2D pictures aren't that detailed, so it's kind of perfect for Decentraland. It's like like when we had the 3D axes made up that Maddie's been kind of like heading that situation. That's pretty cool, yeah. Like they don't need to be they're not the fanciest 3D models. They don't have to be. They represent an axis, It's a very cartoony looking thing. Those kind of things are great for Decentraland, and I think that on some level, like that's the kind of stuff that I'd like to see on Decentraland, just because, like, I don't know, it's like it kind of fits the picture, If you're looking at Decentraland, like I'm looking over here on the screen, it's the bright colors and stuff like that. That to me, I think kind of represents Decentraland, even if your build is a little bit different,
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, everything's gonna be different. That's the whole idea, right? Like,
yeah.
Right now, Ethermon's first to this party where it's like a distributed open world gaming experience. But like we have plans down the line to kind of like create our own game. It's already in the early stages.
Yeah.
Corona Zombies. We could definitely implement a lot of this open world, open exploration gameplay mechanics to it.
Yeah, and I didn't even think about that with with the Crypto Zombies. Or the Corona Zombies. I wasn't like understanding like what that was gonna be.
Yeah.
And it's almost like I see this and I'm like, oh, I could see the zombie game as well having a similar value. Like if you had the platform, okay, you have only so many Corona Zombie plots, right? That are the actual game. But then what if other plots were something like that I just bought? It was like a mining piece, like so it's like,
yeah.
All right, in order to get something better in Corona Zombies, then you would go to like a plot of land where you go and do a task,
Exactly.
And I think speaking on that subject, I'm terrible. What's Dennis' business?
Dapcraft.
Dapcraft.
Yeah.
So what he's got going on. I can't wait to talk to him sometime soon. I think this week or something. What he. He's got the similar model. It's like, yeah, this is about wearables and stuff, but you got to go over here, do this. I had another plot of land so he's got like, I think he's going to have like a system of different size plots of land that he's going to put these things on, and that you're going to have to do different tasks at those different plots of land in order to try to earn these wearables. So
yeah, and that aligns so much with like my beliefs in the sense that I've never been a big fan of like, minting out of thin air NFTs so much. Like, at least when it comes to gaming, because like, from my experience, the most valuable in-game items were things that were the hardest to earn. There was some kind of time or like a lot of effort that went into earning them. And that's why they were so rare, because not everyone got them, right? So I applaud Dapcraft and like thinking of some kind of like proof of work mechanism in order to like minting new NFTs, I'm hoping that persists throughout a lot of these new games.
Yeah, I mean, I like it both ways, because it just doesn't bother me, because the market is doing its own thing. The market is going to do its own thing. So, I'm starting to understand this, because I've been kind of following that whale thing. I went and got me some whale token actually the other day. I was a part of that airdrop.
The whale shark.
Yeah, that was fun. Yeah, it was just fun. Honestly, it was just kind of like a frenzy of people just like ah. But yeah, so I was involved with that, and I've been seeing the arguments of people in there talking about, and not just in there, but on his Twitter and all over Whale Sharkers and in general, talking about, well, you don't know if these digital art pieces are going to be worth anything because a lot of them haven't been sold a second time, and there's like this conversation. Many of our wearables have been sold 15 times over, So to me, I don't know. I mean, it just doesn't. I'm not saying that there's just nothing to go but up, but at the same time, it's like we have kind of established like a way, and like new people definitely want them. So these old ones will probably be something. I'd like to see whatever we're gonna do for our next move as a community. But they do seem to kind of hold up like digital art,
Yeah, I think one of the things that I think we're going to see a lot of. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Look at that.
Oh, yeah.
is a lot of this digital art stuff, especially. And then, so what are your thoughts so far on like the whale shark progress? Like,
There's
are
a
you
frenzy
concerned
on it.
at
Like
all?
I would say that there's a lot of people that are into it. I never have a opinion like on a philosophical one. I can care less what
Yeah.
happens, but it's
Did
more
you,
like
did you see that tweet from Maddie where it kind of like gives you perspective of like the market size of all of
yeah,
NFTs
yeah,
compared to cryptocurrency?
yeah.
Like NFTs is like dust
Yeah,
compared to like
yeah, and then they show that same chart. Like Modern Investor shows that same chart, but with
yeah,
it's like Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies, like like whatever, and then it's like gold, and then it's like fiat, and it's like
yeah.
stocks, and it's like
Stocks.
I don't know, like debt,
Derivatives.
it's like pages and pages, and you're just like this little square, if you're invested
Yeah.
in crypto. So, it's definitely something to look at. You want to know, where you stand in, like history of that asset,
Yeah, I don't know how anybody can look at that and not be like, hey, maybe I should just buy some crypto or Bitcoin or
I don't know.
just buy
Yeah,
something.
it's crazy. I mean, I honestly just like I've stopped trying with some people, because you sound crazy after a while,
Yeah.
So I stopped. I stopped trying. I just doing my thing, and it's funny too. I tell people a lot now that I, let's say, work in Decentraland. I look
Right.
at this like almost like I'm like a dev on. I'm just gonna bring that back. I look at it more like I'm like a dev on like Ethereum or something like that, where you just like don't really worry too much for the price no more. Like, the price going up would be great. Same time, just go to work and you'll be fine. So like
Yeah.
that's the way I look at it now. It's a different way because I do feel like I'm doing things within the game, in the world now, whatever. Like that's like way more important than just worrying about if the price is gonna go up, the price is gonna go down. Wearables still going to go up, wearables gonna go down. Like like for me now, it's every day go to work. I was joking with these guys in the OPEC baby whales chat, and I was like, yo, like I used to be buy and sell, buy and sell, buy and sell. Like I was joking. I've sold every single thing. Like I've literally sold like almost every wearable item, and at the same time, like now it's just buy. That's it. Goes away. And I don't have to sell so much no more. It was a time when I legitimately had to sell. And now I really don't. So, if I see a good number that I really like, I'll sell at that or something. But for the most part,
Yeah, for sure.
I don't, it's not the same game for me no more. I'm busy working more than anything. It's like, I remember a few weeks ago, I went on, just went sick buying the Decentraland hoodies, like the hoodie with the, the hoodie with the logo on it.
Little mana with the logo, yeah.
Yeah, the logo, yeah. Not the mana one, but the Decentraland logo in the front. I was buying those at like 10 to 20. I bought 70 of these bitches, right? And then I started working on stuff. I started working on the radio station and doing like some Blender stuff and learning the code. I look up and them bitches going for 75. I'm like I didn't even have to look at them. Just like they were just there, and look at that now. And that's not the number I want, so I just leave them. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
So it's, I play the
like
game differently
once
now as opposed to before.
Wearables market is sort of an open market. I think we're going to see much larger volume.
I'm sorry?
I was just saying that I think we're going to see much larger volumes once there's like an open market.
I think once we have a clear
For
path, I don't think it's necessarily just that. I think once we have a clear path to what we're doing, then we'll see more things happening in that world. But also once we have more people on the land, the first thing a person asks when they get here is, how do I change my clothes? Like, how do you got that on? I was hanging out in Genesis like a couple of days ago, at the launch, and I was like, I'm gonna talk to some new people. I just walk around, and I was talking to some new people, and they're like, yo, how do you get that stuff? And I'm like, well, first of all, this stuff you're probably not gonna be able to get, but other stuff, I mean, it's just joking with them, but you know what I'm saying, like,
Yeah, I think that's important to talk about, meaning like, like the early investors and early adopters of Decentraland, like the goal is to make these wearables as valuable as possible, right? And like as costly as possible.
I don't think that's necessarily the goal. I think that it's part of the program, but it's not necessarily like, oh, the goal is for these things to be worth so much. It's like, it's these are telling a certain story.
It's definitely your desired outcome, though, right? as an investor.
That's why you
in
buy
these
so
things.
many of them. If you're somebody
Yeah.
like myself who has like a whole bunch, yeah, that'd be like
Yeah.
like your idea. But at the same
Yeah.
time, I don't know, like it's the reason I bought so many of them is because I come from video games, man. I just know how people feel
Mm-hmm.
about this stuff, and if you tell them that they can own these things outright, it changes the game. And this is why
Yeah.
we've seen the values go to those prices because you own it, so you'll own it forever. You know, not like
Yeah.
2K where you own it till next year and then the game goes away and then you get the same outfit again for money. You know,
Yeah.
so you know people understand that logic and that's why they spend on it. You know, and without even having a thought. Then you have a market and you have people buying and selling them. And then what new users, you know, like me and I were talking about the Bitcoin glasses today. They went crazy. They started selling at 10,000 mana, right? And like basically like people from outside of Decentraland that are into crypto, they're gonna come in, see those Bitcoin glasses, want them, have money, don't care what they cost, and spend it. And that's what we've seen over and over and over with those. You know, there's gonna be other items like that, but who knows which ones they're gonna be. You know.
Yeah.
But that's a lot of it is you know, you got to remember you're in crypto. You can't use like logical thinking. You're in crypto, so you got to remember think a little bit crazier than you actually are, and think about it like somebody that just wouldn't care about no money, like just doesn't care. 'Cause they made $1 million yesterday off of a Bitcoin spike or even more like some other crazy ass coin spike, and they're feeling themselves anyway. And then they find, they walk up in here like, man, that ain't nothing. Give me all of that stuff. I want all of that, you know?
Right.
Yeah, that's kind of my point. Meaning, like, everything right now is catered towards crypto people. You know, crypto rich individuals, which basically like the techie, the nerdy. But like, if we want any of this stuff to succeed, this goes for any NFT project or blockchain gaming project. Your real target audience are the non-crypto people. Are the actual gamers of the world, and these people aren't expecting to like enter a world where everything is like,
but also
for
you
sale,
remember,
and the only thing you could do is like spend a bunch of bucks to like have an enriched gaming experience.
I don't know. I don't know that that's the truth though, because everybody that games, they spend money on their games, and you don't even own half the stuff in those games. You know,
You don't.
And the ownership is where you start to see like actual like.
But
it
the
makes
reason why
sense to me, why you spend that much money on it.
Yeah, but the reason why they're paying so much for those in-game items is because of the content itself is so valuable to these players that they're willing to, self-identify with them with these purchases.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Here's the thing. I would imagine in the future you're not going to see people with like me, like 300 wearables. Like, well, you wouldn't need that. You would have like an outfit or 4, but you wouldn't have like a ridiculous. And I just do it because it's different because I'm from the beginning, but there'll be a time when I bet you probably wouldn't want to have like like you don't like maybe a wardrobe like a regular person, but like not 300s, like that's ridiculous, so I think that, later on you'll probably have the average user would probably have way less clothes than your collector. A collector and a user is a different thing, If you're a user and you just came in here, getting clothes ain't that expensive. If you're a collector, it's different.
Yeah.
But
Totally.
I think there's going to be room for both models, man. I think there's going to be room for like what Dennis wants to do with Dapcraft, what you guys want to do with whatever wearables that I hope you guys get to release, and, so on and so forth. Like the wearables, if I come out with a wearable, it's not going to have that same model. I'll probably have a different model and like, how they're released or whatever, So that's the way I'm looking at it. Like, if I was to be able to make wearables, I don't know what I would do with them, honestly. I don't know what I would do with them just yet, and I don't know how I would distribute. But I'd get with the people that I'm trying to get with. I think I'm gonna end up working with Drew from Meta Factory. Actually, like that is just super cool with me, and I become like pretty cool with him. So I gotta imagine that I would work with him to make something super cool. That's like kind of world and non-world,
Yeah, so what's your opinion so far, like on the difference between games, blockchain games, and like traditional gaming? Like I see there's a clear like quality difference between the two, and I don't know if that's because
Are you talking
one
like graphics,
like not only graphics but like the entire experience. Like I think
what I've noticed with
a lot of room
my
to
guys,
grow.
because they're all game guys. They don't blockchain nothing. I just had somebody lose $60 on me. I mean, like, like they don't know what the hell they're doing, you know. And I wouldn't say that for all of them, but I'm just saying, like, as in general, we're all pretty new, you know. But like what I've noticed is the hardest part for them is to deal with the wallets and stuff. But once they get into the game, now they're just rolling, you know, and they completely understand the value. This is why I keep bringing it up. My friends that I'm got on my Axie team, they 100% understand the value, and they're not confused as to why Axies go for so much and certain ones go for so much, and so on and so forth. And they just going about their business, and they're beating people's asses right now, which is dope. You know?
So, well, why did you pose that question? I think my reply to that would just be, traditional gaming industry has way more money than these indie teams. A lot of the blockchain gaming is coming from indie, developer studios. So it's not an even playing field yet. You know what I mean?
Not yet. Yeah.
But
I think that you're going to start to see regular games start to have blockchain solutions for certain things, because they're going to start to see people gravitating toward that idea, and they're not going to want to lose their power, it's a business, so they'll squeeze their little old model until they get the last drop out of it, and then they'll be like, all right, I heard about, like, I think Call of Duty's doing some sort of blockchain-y thing, and then, like, there's just recently was like this crazy success with the Garbage Pail Kids cards, And
have you ever played a game called Destiny?
Oh yeah, I not really. My friends play that. I don't play that.
Yeah, the game was like pitched in as a 10-year game where like Destiny 1, you would create this character and you would progress this character, and you would keep using that same character throughout your 10-year game span for this particular game. And on Destiny 2, they basically rebooted the whole thing. And I was like, I thought it was a good idea to have like progression like on a 10-year scale.
Yeah, that's. I heard that's what Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to be about. Like,
oh really?
You start in a certain decade, and then like maybe a year later, now you're in the 80s, and then a year later you're in the 90s, and a year later, you know what I mean? So like, that's what. And I heard that car styles were going to be, and that's a game that could severely benefit from being blockchain, probably.
Hell yeah.
But like, your car, so like if you start the game and let's say you're in the 70s and you got like a 1970 looking car now, in the 80s those cars are no longer available. You know what I'm saying?
I see. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So it's super cool concept to me. Hopefully more games.
I think so going back to Destiny.
Yeah. Go ahead, Will.
No, I was just gonna say, going back to Destiny, the only thing was that they pitched this 10-year game, and like in like the second year in, they just completely rebooted everything, and it was more about the balance. Like they couldn't balance like old weaponry with the new ones that were coming out, and so they would just be like, "Well, I'm just gonna strip you of everything, and you're gonna start with new weapons now." And so like that progression was lost.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so I think with blockchain, I think that's gonna be a big problem. Like, how do you keep a game that's like 10 years old still like balanced for future players? And because these blockchain assets, they're gonna last forever, right? I mean, that's the idea.
Yeah. I think
that's why there's a tradable ecosystem, right? I guess when one set of in-game items becomes obsolete, it's kind of like
then it crashes, right?
Yeah, and if you have if you have the speculative foresight to like do that research and you know what's coming in the future, you better dump your bag of NFTs before everyone else
dumping out of that game. This game's going
but then again, like the original items, the original NFT items tend to be like the most valuable. So I mean, from a gameplay perspective, it's not useful, but from a speculative perspective,
they become like artifacts then.
Yeah, exactly.
Which also has value. That's crazy to think about, because there's like different elements to these NFTs. There's utility, scarcity, like you said, history. There's all kinds of
Did you guys see that video? I keep kind of bringing this video up because if you didn't see it, I suggest taking a look. It's a video about the Honus Wagner. It's like a 30 for 30 short, I think, from ESPN. It's a video about the Honus Wagner card. It's like the most valuable baseball card ever. And it sold kind of like the end of the day, it sold for $2.8 million, right? It was these baseball cards that used to come on the back of a cigarette pack. And so everybody was getting these baseball cards. So it was like a bunch of them. But the Honus Wagner was like the best. Excuse me, not the best. Yeah, he was the best baseball player at the time. Him and Ty Cobb. And then they put out a few of his, and then he was like, either he wasn't getting paid, or for some reason he didn't want to. The other story is that he didn't want to want cigarettes, which probably is complete bullshit because it's 1919 or something like that. And it was like nobody was like, fuck cigarettes. Everybody was like, yes, give them to your children. You know, like they really didn't care.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I guess they came on the back of these things, and so they were just like junk. They were like nothing, right? So nobody saved them and kept them nice. One card out of, like we're talking about now, we're moving into like baseball cards are getting started, have gotten popular over the years and stuff like that. And one card was actually like legitimate and nice from that time period, and it was this Honus Wagner card, right? So at some point in this card's lifetime, Wayne Gretzky buys it with another partner for like $650,000, right? Then Wayne Gretzky and his partner sold it for like 1.2 million or something like that, and then it sold for like all the way up to 2.8 million, right? And then they were like, man, those edges on that card are just way too sharp. It looks like somebody shaved it, And then like so there's like an investigation goes on, and long story short, yeah, it was shaved, but it still went for $2.8 million because it's like it don't matter. It already told the story. You know what I mean? Like the guy got in trouble in court and everything. It's like, but it doesn't matter because the story is what matters. It's not. Yeah. It's not the fraud or not fraud of it. It's just the story. You know what I mean? So like that's what I took from that, and I put in the chat that we have. I said, to me, this is the NFT market.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that.
Yeah. I totally agree. I mean, just because you're able to create an NFT that's provably rare, without that story that you're talking about, Franky, it doesn't really matter. Like, there's got to be some sort of like history behind something for it to be, valuable from the perceptive point of view.
Exactly. Like the theater mask that I have, like
exactly
that wasn't a. If you guys were at the beta test with me, I was on the thing with Iman talking, and that wasn't one of the options. That was given on some level somehow, and the cloud knows as well. So like you got to know your stories too,
That's right. Yeah. And then you got to get other people to know them too, I guess, so they could be like, oh, I want a piece of that history, like you said.
Yeah, I mean,
it's like those dollar bills that get printed wrong or something like that. For some reason, they have more value to them just because they're like fuck ups,
we were having like this kind of talk in one of the chats, and somebody had mentioned Beanie Babies. There's still Beanie Babies that go for crazy money apparently. And somebody else was like, fucking Beanie Babies. Like, who even fucks with that anymore? It's like, well, that's the reason.
Yeah.
It's like, everybody forgot about him, and there's one guy in Asia somewhere, and it's like, nah, man, I got my stack of wall from the Beanie Babies. I need that last one. That's the most perfect one. There's people that are collectors that are, crazy collectors. That's what they love to do. It's not necessarily, for them, like a market that is like a buy and trade thing. And like some people just love having them. Looking at my cousin's like that. He has all these crazy, weird, like anime toys and stuff like that like I don't care about. He has so many Gundam things. I don't even know what those are, but he makes these Gundam models, and like apparently they're worth like a good amount of money, and I don't know anything about them. I'm just like, cool, But
yeah.
There's a world out there that that basically there's always going to be a world that you can't understand, and to me it was like, cool. I might not like know why or why this is getting so crazy, but I have my theories, but like I'm not gonna fight the wave, baby. You know what I mean? It's like whatever, and that's kind of the way I've always looked at it. I enjoy, I don't know. I just enjoy the whole buying and selling and stuff like that. It's always been into like that part of any video game and stuff like that, so that's cool. But at the same time, there was a point when I was like, all right, it's time to get to work,
Yeah.
Like we've been fucking around for a while now. Like, all right, I'm gonna go to work now. I'm gonna go work on Decentraland and start working on building whatever it is, you know, and now that's my role more than anything, even though I did make a pretty big purchase the other day, but other than that.
Yeah, man, I like where everything's going. I think people are starting to get like the potential of Decentraland, and we're starting to see it, especially like, you know, we had a conversation with Scorpio and the roundtable, and he brought up a good point that the neighborhood is actually a microcosm of what the future of Decentraland is going to
I
look
love
like.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, and it is so true. I mean, there's just going to be all kinds of random builds right next to each other. And it's a good example of like how people are going to be interacting in the future.
Yeah.
And then like after we got off, we started to talk to Boss, and he brought up a good question about the Deadland ping.
Yeah.
And my thing is like, I think it's probably too soon to even think about, but I understand like, it is important to figure out. It's just I don't see anything pressing on that yet.
Yeah, not just yet, but I would say that it is something to think about the future, like about what we should do with that. But I mean, yeah, like you're not taking nobody's land away today, so you might as well just worry about getting all the other things working, and you know, maybe we have that come back to that conversation, because that conversation, as much as it needs to be had, we need to make sure that we are going in the right direction anyway, you know?
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Yeah, because we don't want to get this thing out of hand. If a conversation is being had about Deadland ping, we should definitely pay attention to it, because if it like goes in one direction where somebody can just take people's land away, like it potentially get abused.
But I mean, I don't know, man. The way I look at it, like how even possible is that? Like, I don't know. Because we were saying, talking about that, like we don't even know if it's possible to do that, like to build on somebody's land that we've decided as a community we're not gonna, you know, like I don't know if this even, you know, I thought that maybe because we have the trees out there in the grass and like the default kind of DCL stuff, that was just something that can be done, but apparently that's not like that simple, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, it's because, man, that's weird that you could just take somebody's land away. I mean, that's odd. That's an odd functionality to enable.
It's only in the case where there's like inactivity, right?
But I mean,
the fact that you can take it away.
Yeah. True.
Yeah, what's the time of inactivity that, you know, that we all decide is, you know, too much, and you know, is it really that big of a deal to me? It's not that big of a deal to me to have empty land somewhere.
It's inevitable. There's no way you're gonna get 100% saturation.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, not everyone is a creator or a builder. A lot of speculators are presently here. You know,
exactly.
That's just gonna be part of it. You know, but hopefully, like the ecosystem gets to the point where deployment becomes the best option. You know, better than just leaving your land desolate. You know, there's actually proven revenue models being generated. That's why, like, it's, you know, monetization is so important. You know, that you can kind of battle this problem you guys are addressing right now.
True. Because if it's valuable enough, people will never like leave their land alone. They'll always like do something because it's worth so much to work on it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Like if you're always, like, imagine this, you always have, like, as a landowner, you get 3 emails a week from, you know, game devs. They're like, we're dying to build on your land, you know?
Exactly.
And they're, you know, this dead man's thing would only happen with actual dead men.
Exactly. There's a bunch of Satoshis throughout the world. Like, where the fuck did they all go? Just like abandoned addresses.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. I mean, sadly, but you know.
Yeah, that's kind of the responsibility of the community right now, is just to drive that demand. So yeah, we gotta just keep on building, keep on creating.
That's what I'm saying. I think games like Ethermon are gonna be important to that. So I'd like to see where this goes, and you know, I'm obviously feeling this one because I bought one and I'm gonna put it probably in the neighborhood. That's what I'm thinking.
Ooh.
Oh yeah.
All right, guys. I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, no, I appreciate you having us on, dude, because this is like a big step for us at least, and I think a big step for Decentraland's community. Like it's all up to us, man. There's no more complaints. There's no more begging for anybody to do anything. It's really
we do have a lot of tools now.
and do work.
There was a lot of that like after the launch, a lot of like yelling and bickering, and even we were guilty of that. We kind of like.
I made the joke. I was like, man, Will came on this podcast like right after the launch. Was like, y'all ain't build shit.
Exactly.
And then everybody was like, no, Will, I made something. You know, like, we were like, we all like jumped to it. Sick of y'all motherfuckers in the wearables market. You need to build something. Like, all right, well, sorry, I'm going.
We even we said that like live on our not live, but on our podcast. We're like, are we just being assholes? Like, are we being shitty people? And I think we kind of were.
Nah, you sparked a little fire though, you know. And you know, I was talking to Open yesterday or today. Like, you know, everybody goes through it. I mean, I wouldn't. You know, we all kind of like have our points of frustration. And you're like, all right, like, I'm gonna spaz out behind this shit or whatever, you know. So it's fine. You know, I think it's human. It's human to have frustration with when you're going so hard at something and it doesn't go the way you want it to go. So, you know,
I think that's what it was. Just so many people put so much effort into their own, you know, personal builds and stuff, and then after, you know, to see the launch, at least the first day, see how it went. You know, it was a little bit disappointing, but Decentraland team deserves a lot more credit than what they get, because
100%.
They're on the right track completely. They understand, like what I said earlier, like their focus is on educating like the market of gamers and players who like aren't familiar with all this shit. After that,
could you imagine what the undertaking is to do this as a team member? Like, because me dealing with 2 parcels, like I have 5 parcels total, and I'm like, I don't even know if I can handle 5. And now I think I have an idea what I want to do with all 5. So cool. But I mean, damn, 5. You know what I'm saying? Like, these dudes have 45,000, you know, that they have to deal with.
Now you have like a hint as to the work that the district owners have to do.
Oh, and there's the other thing, the district owners. And, you know, we're trying to like kind of link with those guys too to bring them back around, because there was some arguments back then. Dudes were frustrated. Again, they had massive plots of land. They have a massive job in front of them, and then they didn't have all their tools. So they got frustrated like anybody else. And they go and have an argument or something like anybody would. And now it's time to bring them back in and say, hey, we can't wait to see your builds. As a community, we are so excited for what you guys are going to bring to the table, because districts are going to be huge when they get put together. But you got to remember, I mean, we just got hyperlinks. We literally just got hyperlinks. What if their whole model was based on, well, we need the hyperlinks first?
Yeah, you know? Definitely.
So you got to remember, I mean, the hyperlinks started Monday or something like that.
It's true.
You know?
Yeah.
It's true, man.
So I just wanted to throw that out to if there's anyone from the Decentraland team listening or watching. You know, like we appreciate all the work you guys are doing for sure.
Absolutely.
You know, without y'all's contribution, your work, you know, none of this is possible.
None of this is happening.
So,
you know, it's been a great experiment, this whole thing, and I think that now we're starting to see the legs a lot more, and a lot of us were lucky enough to see it early. Because I think that all that early stuff that we all did will end up paying off like heavily, you know.
That's what I always wonder. Like, are we gonna be like folk lords in the future? Where like 10 years from now, they'll tell tales of this radio station and stuff like that.
You know what's gonna be funny? It's gonna be like, remember when the block runners used to have to work? Like, those dudes don't work no more. Like, why would they have to? They run a business, it would be a whole different. I think there'd be a whole different conversation in a few years. We'll see, like the people's roles and stuff like that, but I kind of see that happening currently, so it's cool.
It's either gonna be like this awesome story, or just gonna be like a tragic tale. I feel
like the only way it ends up being a tragic tale is if we don't build our own product. So they've given us the opportunity to invest in something like this. It's not on like them, let's say the team, to now promote it. It's like really on us. You want somebody to go and think that your investment is valuable, or you got to go and get them to come, you know? So onboarding people should be literally somebody's whole gig. Like if one of you guys listening, like doesn't have a thing to do, spend every second of your day onboarding somebody. And finding 100%. Ways to onboard people.
Hell yeah.
Even if it's just your friend at school, right?
That's what I'm saying. Because at the end of the day, somebody spending a lot of time at one of your builds or my build or fucking Genesis Plaza, the casino, it wouldn't matter like where they're spending their time. They like that is gonna be what gets everybody paid essentially. You know, and if you're talking about just money, I mean, like that's what getting everybody paid is just having somebody think that this is cool, onboard someone else, like just because they told their friend about it. You know, like
exactly.
You know, so
you literally only have to onboard what 2 people, and then you have like the same viral rate as the coronavirus, literally. So let's try and replicate that COVID spread. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Just that's everyone's homework assignment for the day after we get off. Just tell 2 people you know about Decentraland and give them the link.
Yep. And let them take a walk around Genesis.
Happens.
And now the other thing was I noticed too, because I onboarded like Genesis Day, I onboarded a couple people, and it was because I had now the tool to say, yeah, go by Genesis Plaza. It pretty much tells you the whole story.
Yeah.
And it really does. So you know, what I mean, if you got new people now, send them to Genesis, let them walk around, give them a day, get back to them. You know.
Totally.
All right, guys.
All right, man.
I'm gonna head out. Always,
all right, bro.
I always have a blast talking to you guys. Thanks for everything again, like I always say.
Yeah, man.
And keep it moving.
Thank you, dude. Thank you for having us, man, and talking about all this Ethermon stuff and all these updates. And yeah, we'll be back on the round table on Saturday at the earliest.
Yeah, that's gonna be a good one. I think HP's showing up for that, so I think the good information is coming. You know, that's cool.
Cool.
All right, guys.
All right, guys.
We'll talk.
Thanks for listening.
Yep. Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for coming by.